thoughts on how to do that. You know, do you do that before the experience and then say, okay, now you're in it, or is it, can you do it as part of the onboarding of the world as they start to figure it out? Do you have any thoughts on that?
All of the above. I think you can do it in any of those ways. The way that I would prefer is have it be part of the way they enter into the world, right? So once they're in VR, something in the way what we've set up there establishes who they are. And it might be, if it's a 360 video or something like that, you could have a character talk to them and sort of say something that sets up what their role is. What do you say?
I really like priming at the beginning of an experience that's done in character. And I also like priming through emails before. You know, you can send like in-character or in-game emails that kind of set the tone. As I started doing my first experiments with Immersive Theater and Houseworld, my first impulse was just to throw people into this house, you know, throw my friends into this house, and they didn't know what to expect. They didn't know it's a party, they didn't know if they were going to sit down and watch a play. And over the course of many months, my friends led me into like the right way to prime for that experience. You should say this. If I would have known this before I went in, I would have had a better time.
Cool, I like that, the idea of priming the audience. Questions? Any questions? Yes?
First of all, thanks both of you for your talks. They were both very, very interesting. I have a question, different questions for each of you, so I hope you'll call on me again. I'll ask them one at a time. I have experienced trying to find a future mate. It was a very nice, very nice experience. But I have a question about your the Hamlet. I didn't see it there, but at Story Forward, there was a presentation about a live interactive Hamlet, in which a group of actors both gave the play, but also allowed the audience to interact with them. In your live Hamlet, how does the VR experience actually enhance it? Since you do have live actors, you do have live audience, where does the intermediary of the VR actually enhance the experience?
My feeling is that there's a sense of place that we can create with VR, which can actually enhance an understanding of what's happening in the story. Hamlet is actually, even though it seems like a really unlikely example of something to apply this kind of technology to, it's actually really appropriate, because Hamlet can be read in many, many ways, but one of the aspects of it is that it's a ghost story. And one of the aspects of this particular scene is that it's in this really remote, isolated, dangerous place. And this is something which I've seen many different productions of Hamlet, and I never quite felt that. But by putting the audience on the battlements of the castle in this very remote place, you know, in the dead of night, with the ocean raging below, where you can actually walk to the edge and look over the parapet and see the waves crashing on the rocks below, you get the sense that Hamlet is putting himself in a dangerous situation. There's, in the text, right before this, his friends are warning him not to chase after the ghost because the ghost might drive him mad and make him leap off the edge of the cliff. And by actually building out this set and putting the audience in this place with Hamlet, you can actually get a sense of that real place. And I think this is just, you know, an example that we've started exploring. I think there are a lot of other examples to be explored in the world of literature in general.
Was that question?
Yeah. Is it Andrew? Yeah. Before you even started talking about ASMR, I just was feeling tingling in my spine as listening to you speak, so thanks for that.
Thank you.
So from the ASMR artists to the VR, David, I wanted to ask you about, well, not to get ahead of ourselves, but the scene from Hamlet that you did is 5 minutes, whereas the play can run 5 hours. I mean, just as we went in air travel, commercial air travel, we go from New York to Philadelphia to flying to Fiji and places like that. Can you already foresee a 5-hour VR experience?
I mean, I can. I personally would never mount a 5-hour version of Hamlet. I don't think it's necessary. Also, the adaptation that I would make to take advantage of VR would be a cut of the play that focuses on the supernatural elements and the really focuses on these questions of mortality that Hamlet asks throughout the play. And there's other stuff I would definitely cut just because I feel like VR wouldn't necessarily add anything to that, and it's not necessary for the way I want to tell the story. Having said that, yes, I think that there is a foreseeable near future where long-form VR pieces will be tolerable. One of the big obstacles right now is, headsets aren't comfortable, the resolution isn't that great, like you get eye fatigue, you get neck fatigue. If you stage it as a standing up experience, you get, foot fatigue. All of these things are things we have to work on, but part of it is getting the technology to support it, which is coming really fast. So I think doing long form VR is definitely going to be possible and will happen.
You know about the weekend-long immersive experience elsewhere?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where it's basically a LARP, right? Where people go to the castle and essentially act out the story of the play. Yeah, so people are into getting immersed in fictional worlds for long periods of time. I think the only obstacle really in VR is just making it so that it's comfortable to do that.
So one quick thing and then a question. VR is actually way old and been around a long time. There's a lot of research about what works and doesn't work. We just need to access it better. But the real question is, what do you see as the difference that VR makes in a theatrical experience? Like, why wouldn't I just go watch Hamlet?
I mean, that's sort of what I was talking about. I think that, VR affords a different kind of experience, right? But it affords an experience where you can really feel completely immersed in the world of a play. And you can do that with immersive theater. That's part of what, building out a whole Houseworld is. It's, inviting the audience into this fictional world and letting them explore new things. There are advantages to doing that in VR, and one is that you can build things that you could not build in real life, right? You take advantage of computer graphics and make magical things happen. And because you feel immersed, they have that effect on you. I'm not going to say you're going to believe that it's really happening, but it has a more visceral effect on you because of the feeling of immersion. So that's why I, as a theater creator, I'm excited about working in VR. Oh, actually, there's one more thing. Sorry, can I just... The other thing is that VR is scalable in a way that theater isn't. So one of the things that I didn't point out about our Hamlet experience is that the audience and the actors are not in the same place. And in fact, the audience doesn't need to be in the same place. So at Tribeca, we had the actors performing in Brooklyn in a motion capture studio. The audience were at the festival at Tribeca, but we also had people tuning in from Abu Dhabi, because at the NYU campus there. And theoretically, we could have millions of people tuning into a single live performance. We would just need to build out the infrastructure. And I have lots of things to say about that. If anybody has funding and wants to I'd be happy to. Because I think that is actually a viable future, both for theater and for VR.
A great presentation from both of you, thanks a lot. Just had a very practical question on to be with Hamlet, with the avatars. How did you deal with the lip syncing with their mouths? Like when the characters were talking, did the mouths move? Did they move realistically?
So, yeah, that's actually something that we're still in progress on. We were loaned a camera and a software license from Faceware, which is one of the high-end things that are used for doing computer animation. So it's a camera that sits out here, it records the movements of the actor's face and then maps that onto the avatar. We still have a lot of work to do on that, but already we can see that that's going to be effective. But to take a step back, for a lot of the time that we've worked on this, we didn't have that. And you know, I come from theater, and I've done a lot of shows wearing a mask, where my face doesn't actually move at all, but it doesn't necessarily affect the expressivity of the character. So there are performance techniques that can be applied, even if you can't afford the face recognition, that are worth exploring.
Is HamletVR available to see, download, do something with it, or do you plan to have it anytime soon in the US?
Not soon. I mean, we are going to have more public presentations of it, but because it's a live experience, and we don't have the infrastructure for, you know, distributing it and selling tickets and doing the broadcast performances, you can't really see it at home. So we're doing public presentations when we can, but it's I guess I'll just say it, we need more money. It's expensive to stage it, because we have to pay the actors and crew, and there's a fair amount of technology that we have to rent or borrow or steal. And there's a lot of development that still needs to be done on it, so we are looking to raise more funds for it.
Very interesting, both of you, thanks. So, is this working? Oh, yeah, there it is. I went to see both Then She Fell and the other one.
So you're going to
Yeah, same. Yeah, and with Then She Fell, we knew what to expect before because they did planning. And with Sleep No More, we didn't really know what to expect. And it was a very different experience. And so I agree with you that timing is very helpful. And it's a very immersive experience, but it's physical, it's three-dimensional, and you're always in control of your own experience. With VR, and also it lasts a long time. I mean, there are a couple of hour-long experiences. But with VR, like a Tribeca, I probably did 7 or 8 of the different experiences at one time, and just my brain was just fried by the end of it. So I'm just curious to know, okay, hardware, sure, we can make the hardware experience more enjoyable, more comfortable, but what do you think about how VR kind of hijacks your brain in a way? And is that a good thing or a bad thing, or is that something you're excited about? Or I'm just curious to know what you think about that, because it's really not the same as an immersive theater experience in music.
Yeah, it's true it's not the same. I am kind of excited about it, and I think, as David mentioned, there are decades worth of research about the effects that head-mounted displays can have, but I think there's still a lot more to be done. I think there's definitely some questions about, you know, the fact that you're focusing on something that's so near, and but I think the idea of it sort of hijacking your brain is, I mean, in a way, that's what good storytelling does. It's what really compelling theater or filmmaking, or, you know, it pulls you along, right? It pulls you into it and pulls you along. So I think the problem is that there are a lot of VR experiences right now which are really not pleasant, where they're coercing you into this experience. They're taking over your brain, but what they're giving you isn't something you really want. But I think that's on the creators, that's not on the technology, if that makes sense. I think it's not just about, you know, the physical stuff about the headset. It's about being cognizant of some of these things that we've talked about in terms of what makes a person feel comfortable in an experience, right? Feel like they want to be carried along by it. And what doesn't?
I mean, can we expect the technology to change kind of in the way that it can fry your brain to read a book on a computer screen, but they've found ways to make Kindles and technology where it doesn't feel so brain frying to read digital text? And so can we also expect, or do you imagine that virtual reality in the same way is going to start to feel like more healthy to engage with for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that. You know, I don't know enough about that kind of what's being done in that respect, but I know that a lot of people are looking at different technologies for putting displays in front of your eyes, right? I mean, Magic Leap is the one that I think a lot of people are really curious about because they have some magical thing that's projecting onto your retinas or whatever, which sounds to me like a lot more scary. Ken Perlin always talks about the magic contact lenses, which I think come up in a lot of science fiction, right? Like it's just a contact lens you've got in your eye and it's got a, you know, essentially a passive display on it. But so it's just right the layering between you and the rest of the world that you see. Which is another thing to say, which is that I've been just working in VR and just been talking about VR, but AR, of course, is really, there's a spectrum of, you know, unreal realities, right? And VR is really the extreme, but there's augmented reality, which lets you overlay things over the real world, and there are whole other possibilities for storytelling using that technology, which I think are also really exciting.
Good evening, and thank you for your presentations. Thank you for having this meetup, and I also want to thank the audience for being so interactive and having wonderful questions. I'm really new to this. I'm a professional opera singer, and I'm looking for ways to expand the appreciation of opera. And so my question for you right now is, in particular, for someone who really doesn't know a lot about this but wants to explore it more and also to explore collaborations. Do you have any recommendations for how to approach that? Thank you.
As far as opera and immersive theater, I know there's a company, I believe it's called Loft Opera. They were collaborating with the Future of Storytelling last year's festival, and they would probably know the most about combining those two worlds.
Although it doesn't have to be opera.
Right.
See my voice carries. But opera is theater. So, but again, I started my own opera company because there are so few opportunities to be able to perform. And so if I wanted to start some kind of either AR or VR project, I'm just asking, and I'm actually also asking members of the audience, because I've looked at some of your bios and everything, are there any people working collaborations?
So there are definitely people who are doing that. Like I think it's actually notable that sort of, you know, per capita in all of the VR pieces that have been created, there seems to be a high percentage of opera pieces, surprisingly, but it's, yeah, some of them are quite compelling. So there are definitely a lot of people who are exploring that, and I think, you know, lots of people are open to collaboration, including my collaborator to be with Hamlet really wants the next piece to be an opera piece. So
Macbeth, Verdi.
Yeah, he wants to do Pagliacci.
Okay.
But in any case, certainly get in touch with us, and you know, if and when that starts to materialize, you know. But yeah, there are lots of people who I think would welcome, you know, would be interested in hearing from you.
Thank you.
Thanks. You mentioned two examples of the work that you've been doing. One was cool, we saw it, the Alice in Hologram, where everyone was in the same room. And then when you went back and you spoke about To Be with Hamlet, you said that you had people in Abu Dhabi as well. So, and then you also said about To Be with Hamlet that you created a space where you could like wander off and look over the edge and that kind of thing. In Abu Dhabi, did that mean that you actually had to recreate a physical space that represented?
Oh, no, none of it is the physical space. We just had people, in a room wearing the HTC Vive headsets. It's all the virtual space. But we give them the ability to move around by allowing them to teleport. So you can, in room scale VR, you can walk around in the space that's being tracked, right? With Vive, we've got these 2 lighthouses that can detect where the headset and the controllers are, and usually that's sort of a 2 meter square, 4 square meter space at most. But you can walk around freely within that. But our set is much bigger than that, so we allow them to basically point and say, I want to go over there, and then they jump over there, and then they pick up from there and can move on from there. So the amount of actual physical space, this is another reason that VR theater is potentially scalable, because you don't need a huge theater space to mount a huge show.
Question for Andrew, because you talked about Houseworld being like entering into a dream. I think that dreaming is maybe the first virtual reality that we all experience, and so even given the constraints of VR, do you find it compelling as something that can represent like real dream experiences?
Yeah, Houseworld, in the beginning, it didn't start out, the dream premise came like after a couple of weeks. At first it was just brainstorms of weird scenes in these rooms, and when I first started writing it into my schedule to work on it, I called it Performance Art House. And then I think that I said, how can I justify all these weird experiences happening next door to each other? And I think a dream is kind of a great excuse to explore and mix up the strange. And I see VR as a place where one can also explore and mix up the strange. So I think, I think VR has a lot of potential to recreate a dream, especially because a dream doesn't have to be photorealistic. So I think we can already go there.
And one of the interesting things about that is applying dream logic to transitions in VR, because one of the problems, right, is if you can't really do cuts the way we do in cinema, how do you get people from one setting to another or one scene to another? And one way to do that is to sort of apply dream logic and have the world transform in a way that it does in dreams. Because we sort of buy that because it's something that happens every night to us, right? So that's actually something that the group I'm working with Ken Perlin, is already looking at how to apply that into VR transitions and experiences.
So we're going to wrap things up for now, and hopefully you guys may be able to hang out for a bit if anyone has any additional questions. Andrew, what's the next piece that you're working on that we can come see?
We are going to stage Whisperlodge in San Francisco and Los Angeles, probably in September or October, about 3 weekends in there. And then in the beginning of 2018, I'm going to begin the permanent Houseworld venue in New York City. So hopefully by spring of next year, we'll be open every weekend. Hopefully by the fall, open a lot.
Wow, awesome. And where can you see
I actually don't know yet. We're talking with various venues about another presentation. And the stuff that we're doing with Ken Perlin's group, we're looking at other opportunities to stage those as well. So cool.
Well, thank you both. Really great presentation.